95% of men don't realize what's really happening inside their body until it's too late. And if you're watching this right now, congratulations, my friend. You're already part of the smarter 5%. You actually care enough to learn what most people ignore, and that alone could save your life one day. I'm Dr. Jame. I've spent over 20 years studying HIV and men's health, working with more than 5,000 patients across 3 continents. And trust me, I've heard every excuse imaginable. Doc, it's just a rash. Doc, it's probably stress. Or my personal favorite, Doc, I'm too healthy for that. Listen, I love the confidence, but biology doesn't care about optimism. HIV doesn't ask if you run marathons or eat kale. It only cares if you protect yourself and pay attention to the right signals. Here's the truth. More than 80% of men who get infected never recognize the early signs. And one specific area, yes, the genital region, has an 18 times higher risk than most people realize. Don't panic. I'm going to explain exactly why that happens later in the video and how you can stay completely in control of your health. But trust me, you'll want to stay until the end, because truth number 7 is the one that changes everything about how we understand male immunity. So before we dive in, let me ask you something. What's one thing about your health that you wish doctors talked about more openly? Write it down in the comments. I actually read what you post, and who knows? Your question might inspire the next episode. Symptom 1. HIV symptoms in men don't look like women's. Michael was a 29-year-old gym guy. Healthy, confident, and allergic to doctor visits. One morning, he noticed a small rash near his groin and a strange soreness in his thighs. What did he do? He Googled it, of course. Probably just chafing, he thought. Classic male response, right? We'd rather diagnose ourselves with Wi-Fi than call a clinic. But here's the thing. The tiny rash was his immune system sending a polite memo before the real chaos began. Men often don't get the same clear signals women do. Instead of fever and fatigue, they might get groin pain, mild swelling, or muscle aches that come and go. Nothing dramatic, just enough to make you think you're fine. If that sounds like you, don't panic, but don't ignore it either. When something unusual lingers more than 5 days, that's your body whispering, "Hey man, check me out." Get a test. Early action doesn't mean you're sick, it means you're smart. Tell me, how many times have you brushed off a symptom because it didn't seem serious? I'll bet more than once. Now, let's look at how the most common cold could actually be hiding something much bigger. Symptom 2. The cold that doesn't quit. Jackson caught what he swore was a simple cold. Sore throat, mild fever, aches, nothing a weekend of sports drinks and optimism couldn't fix. 2 weeks later, he was still sweating at night. His throat felt raw, and over-the-counter pills did nothing. Sound familiar? That's the trap. Early HIV can look like a stubborn flu, especially 2 to 4 weeks after exposure, and linger just long enough to fool men. Here's how to tell when a cold deserves a check. If symptoms last beyond 10 days, if you feel wiped out after normal sleep, or if your neck and groin nodes feel puffy, don't negotiate with WebMD. Call a clinic, ask for an HIV Ag-Ab test, and if the timing is early, plan a follow-up test. You're not overreacting. You're being the adult in the room. I'm Dr. Jame, and yes, you've earned applause for watching this far. Quick gut check. Have you ever kept powering through a cold because work couldn't wait? Be honest in the comments. Your story might help another guy catch his early. Next, we'll talk about the one place where risk skyrockets. Why the genital region can face up to 18 times higher exposure. Symptom 3. The genital region's 18x risk. David is 31, confident and, like most men, not thrilled to discuss anything below the belt. After a weekend with a new partner, he noticed a painless sore near the base of his penis and a thin discharge. No burning, no drama. He chalked it up to a long bike ride. 2 weeks later, the spot was still there. His groin nodes felt tender. He figured rest would fix it by Monday, and he never called a clinic or told his partner. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Exposures in the genital and rectal area can carry much higher risk, up to 18 times more than people assume. The lining there is delicate, microscopic tears happen easily, and viruses love openings. Friction, dry sex, shaving, nicks, and untreated STIs raise the stakes. Early signs aren't always fiery. They can be quiet and easy to downplay. If you're thinking, but it doesn't hurt, that's exactly why so many men wait. What should you do if this sounds familiar? Book a proper exam, get tested for HIV and other STIs, and avoid sexual contact until you have answers. Ask for an HIV AGAB test today and schedule a follow-up. If exposure was recent, add an RNA or NAT test at 2 to 4 weeks, then repeat at 6 to 12 weeks. Use condoms consistently and consider PrEP if your risk is ongoing. None of this makes you paranoid. It makes you careful. Quick check-in. Have you ever noticed a puzzling change down there and talked yourself out of getting it checked? Share, anonymously if you like. Your comment could normalize the conversation for someone else. Next, we'll get practical about timing, because tests only tell the truth when the calendar's on your side. The window period you need to respect. Symptom 4. The window period you're not hearing enough about. Luke did the responsible thing. After a risky weekend, he got tested on Monday, saw a negative, and celebrated with a burger the size of a small planet. Not so fast. Early tests can miss recent infection because your body hasn't produced enough markers yet. That silent gap is called the window period, and calendars matter more than courage. Here's the timing most men never memorize. If exposure was recent, ask for an HIV RNA or NAT test around 2 to 4 weeks. These look for the virus itself. At 18 to 45 days, a fourth-generation AGAB test is highly accurate for most people. Repeat testing at 6 weeks to confirm, and again at 3 months if your clinician advises or your risk was high. Rare situations, older tests, or certain medical factors can extend uncertainty toward 6 months, which is why follow-ups exist. What should Luke have done? Kept the negative result, skipped the victory lap, and scheduled a follow-up series. 1 early RNA, 1 fourth generation at the right window, and a final confirmatory test. Meanwhile, use condoms consistently. Pause new partners and consider PEP within 72 hours of exposure or PrEP for ongoing risk. None of this is panic. It's professionalism about your own body. Quick reality check. Have you ever tested too early just to calm your nerves? Tell me in the comments how you handled the wait, because your strategy could help the next guy breathe. Patience beats guesswork. Precision beats anxiety every single time, period, truly. Now that you know timing is everything, let's tackle why even good timing can be deceiving when your stress hormones crank the volume down on symptoms, and what to watch for when life, caffeine, and deadlines try to play doctor. Symptom 5. When stress turns the volume down on symptoms. Ethan is 30, sleeps with a laptop, and treats cold brew like a food group. When deadlines hit, his heart races, his appetite dips, and every ache becomes just work. Then came 3 weeks of heavy fatigue, foggy focus, and night sweats he blamed on a stubborn thermostat. Here's the catch. Stress raises cortisol, and high cortisol can blunt fever, mute inflammation, and make early immune signals whisper. You feel off, but never ill enough, so you keep grinding while the warning lights flash in the background. How do you tell burnout from an early warning? Look for the mismatch. If you sleep a normal night and still wake up exhausted, if your groin nodes feel puffy, your muscles ache without a workout, or low fevers flirt with you after lunch. If anxiety surges for no clear reason and you are sweating at 3 a.m., that is not hustle. That is a flag. Your body is filing a ticket. Be the manager who reads it. Here is what to do this week, not someday. Run a 7-day reset. Sleep 7 to 9 hours, hydrate, cut caffeine after noon, and take 2 device-free walks daily. Keep a simple log of energy, temperature, and node tenderness. If the fog, sweats, or swollen nodes persist beyond that focused week, get tested. Ask for a 4th-generation HIV egg-AB test. If a recent exposure is possible, add an RNA or NAHAT test at 2 to 4 weeks, then repeat at 6 to 12 weeks. That is not paranoia. It is professionalism about your own health. Tell me in the comments, what is your biggest stress habit pretending to be productivity? Mine used to be answering emails at midnight and calling it leadership. Trade bravado for data. Track your week, compare notes, and act on what the numbers say. Now that you can see how stress disguises early signals, let us fix the common testing mistake men make next, because timing is only half the story. The method matters just as much. Symptom 6. The testing mistakes that fool smart men. Aaron is 34, organized, owns color-coded calendars, and still tested the wrong way. After an exposure, he took a single rapid test at day 5, saw a negative, and declared victory. He even told his buddy, "Science says I'm good." Science did not say that. Timing did. Here is the pattern I see every week. Testing too early, using the wrong test, testing once instead of in a series, and treating a single negative like a lifetime warranty. Add the DIY move of donating blood to find out, or swabbing a throat when exposure wasn't oral, and you have a highlight reel of avoidable errors. Let's fix this with a simple plan you can copy and paste into life. Baseline today. Get a 4th-generation HIV ag-AB test and a full STI panel. If the exposure was within the last 72 hours, ask about PEP immediately. The clock is louder than your anxiety. 2 to 4 weeks after exposure, add an HIV RNA or NAHAT test. This looks for the virus itself, not just the immune response. At 6 weeks, repeat the 4th-gen ag-AB. If risk was high or your clinician advises, repeat again at 3 months for final confirmation. Behavior while you wait matters. Use condoms every time. Pause new partners and skip the temptation to test by how good you feel. Symptoms are noisy. Data is clean. Keep a simple journal. Dates, tests, results, and any new exposures. If a result is positive, breathe, confirm with supplemental testing, and start treatment promptly. Modern therapy gets most men to undetectable fast, which protects your health and your partners. If confusion hits, ask your clinic to explain results in plain language without jargon today. One more adult move. Tell the person involved. You are not confessing, you are collaborating on health. A short message is enough. I'm getting follow-up testing per guidelines. You may want to check too. Mature beats mysterious every time. Quick check-in for the comments. Which step in this plan is new to you? The early RNA, the 6-week repeat, or the 3-month confirm? Your answer will help me shape a printable checklist for the next video. Now that testing is on rails, let's talk about the part everyone actually worries about: treatment, side effects, and how male physiology changes the playbook, and why that is exactly where the hope begins. Symptom 7. Treatment is different for men, and that's where the hope is. Benjamin is 40, a project manager who hates traffic and waiting rooms. When he tested positive, he imagined his life shrinking overnight. We started therapy the same week, his viral load dropped, and within months he was undetectable. That happens quicker in men with today's integrase inhibitor-based regimens. The plot twist wasn't the medicine, it was everything around it. It was about steady habits. Here's what most guys aren't told on day 1. First, side effects can feel like bad timing rather than bad medicine. Energy dips, sleep goes weird, libido changes, and mood swings show up when you're trying to act normal at work. Second, testosterone can slip. When it does, erections and motivation sometimes take a vacation together. Third, the gym routine that used to fix everything needs structure, not heroics. So let's turn treatment into a playbook you can run. Step 1. Get a simple baseline: CBC, CMP, lipids, A1C, vitamin D, and morning total testosterone with SHBG if available. Step 2. Pair your medication with a rhythm. Take it at the same time daily with an alarm and water on the nightstand. Step 3. Resistance training. 3 days a week, compound lifts, form over ego. Aim for progressive overload, not Instagram. Step 4. Protein at every meal, with fiber and healthy fats. Cut excess alcohol. Sleep 7 to 9 hours. Park your phone outside the bedroom. If erections lag or morning drive fades, do not tough it out in silence. Ask your clinician to check free testosterone, thyroid, and prolactin. Review medications that sap libido, and discuss support while levels recalibrate. Many men recover with consistent training, adequate protein, sunlight, and better sleep. Some need targeted therapy. Neither path is a moral test. Both are health care. Relationships. Share the phrase undetectable equals untransmittable. You equals you is not marketing, it's data. When you stay on therapy and remain undetectable, you protect your partners. That confidence changes conversations. It also kills stigma faster than any speech I could give. If a partner has questions, bring them to the appointment. Let science answer so your nervous system can rest. Use a simple habit tracker. Little boxes build big momentum. Mindset matters, but metrics win. Mark your calendar for routine labs at 1, 3, and 6 months, then every 3 to 6 months as advised. If numbers drift, adjust early. If everything hums, celebrate quietly and keep going daily. Remember, treatment is a team sport. Your role is consistency. My role is adjustments. The medicine's role is to do the heavy lifting. Tell me in the comments, which part feels hardest right now? Habits, side effects, or conversations? I read them and shape the next video. You don't have to navigate this alone. Now that treatment looks like a plan you can live with, let's close with action steps, resources, and the pledge that turns awareness into protection for you and the people you care about most. Turn what you learned into protection. If you've watched this far, you've already done what most men never do. You took ownership. Now turn that into a result this week. First, run a clear-eyed risk scan. Think back 6 months. Any condomless encounters? Any symptoms that lingered more than 10 days? If yes, you don't need guilt. You need a plan. These steps are simple. Second, book tests in a smart sequence. Today, a 4th-generation HIV/AIDS ab test plus a full STI panel. If a recent exposure was within 72 hours, ask about PEPI immediately. 2 to 4 weeks after exposure, add an HIV RNA or NET test. At 6 weeks, repeat the 4th gen. If risk was high or your clinician advises, confirm again at 3 months. Put the dates in your calendar before you close this video. Third, stabilize prevention. Use condoms every time. If your risk is ongoing, discuss PrEP with your clinician. It is safe, effective, and boring in the best way. Share you equals you with your partner, so fear doesn't drive the relationship. Information should. Fourth, fix the daily rhythm that makes treatment and immunity easier. Sleep 7 to 9 hours. Train with resistance 3 days a week. Eat protein and fiber at every meal. Cut excess alcohol, sunlight in the morning, and phone out of the bedroom. Small habits beat big promises. Here are reliable places to start reading: CDC HIV Basics, WHO guidance on testing and treatment, and your local clinic or hospital's sexual health services. If you want a simple one-page checklist, tell me in the comments and I'll shape it around your questions. One last thing. You were not reckless for getting informed. You were responsible. If this helped, subscribe and share it with one friend who needs a nudge to take control. One subscribe equals one life saved, because it pushes this information to the men who won't otherwise hear it. What's the single smallest action you'll take in the next 24 hours? Write it below. I read these, and I'll see you in the next episode.